A secret experiment, a deadly virus, a fatal mistake, a Slashers podcast. A podcast about movies and more for those who love horror. My name is Jake, and with me for the first time in an official capacity on a feature-length episode is my esteemed colleague, co-host, and cohort, Adam. Adam, say hello to the mutant goons from beyond.
What is up, goons? It is a pleasure to be here.
So, we are doing a Resident Evil. Let me ask you a quick question. Do you prefer the name Resident Evil or Biohazard as it is known in Europe and Japan?
Honestly, I feel it's situational. It's like some of the games fit more of a title named like Biohazard as like the first one being in a house. Resident Evil seems to fit a lot better.
Seriously, if Resident Evil played the way Dino Crisis 2 played, I would be so about calling it Biohazard. But when it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's sloggy, but it's definitely not that kind of pizzazz. I feel like
slow burn.
Exactly. Like Biohazard is like the name of an American gladiator, right? So you expect bombastic energy, not like, oh, I better open this door and walk and open a menu and pick out a thing and take an herb and make a no, come on now. Not to talk shit, but you know.
And have a cutscene for every door that opens.
You gotta love that. Masking those load times. So, did you play the Resident Evil games? Are you a big fan?
I am a very decent fan. I haven't played all of them. I gotta say, I played 1, 2, 3. I think I played 0 on GameCube. 4, 5 was also awesome. 6 came out, and I just hated it.
Yeah.
I'm playing Part 7 Biohazard now, actually.
Oh, very cool. So, do you know how the name Resident Evil came to be? So the game was Biohazard, but then they realized that there was already a shitty DOS game called Biohazard in America, and it was an incredibly generic name. So the idea of copywriting it was virtually impossible. So they did an internal company-wide contest, and internally that person won. And I couldn't find the name of the person, but I did find that it was just an internal vote at kind of last minute to save it, which is kind of hilarious.
Kind of just came out of necessity, really. Just
and like you said,
saved them a shit ton of money.
Yeah, because it's a house, hence Resident Evil. I was like, this how quaint! It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it just sums it up to a T. 2 words, simple as that, and you know what you're getting into.
Exactly. Did you know this was the first M-rated game in the United States?
Did not know that. I knew there was an actual director's cut for the PlayStation 1, the original.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my parents wouldn't let me get that one at that point.
Bullshit. Yeah, it's actually the highest selling game in the franchise and in Capcom history for that matter is Resident Evil 5, which kind of took me by surprise. Like I remember liking the game, but Jesus Christ, that's the best in Capcom history, even better than Street Fighter, I guess. Or Mega Man. Which
game?
7 million units were sold of one title. Yeah.
Enjoyed that one, but yeah, I would have never said that was Capcom's top in any way, shape, or form.
And it's not like there's gimmickry. Like people always talk about how Super Mario and Duck Hunt were like the best selling games ever, but a lot of them came in a bundle with a Nintendo, so it's an artificially inflated thing. I didn't ever get a bundle with Resident Evil 5, but whatever.
Yeah, it's like putting U2's album on the iPhone or something.
Evil bastard.
That shit. Oh, God. No one wants it, Bono.
Yeah, and nobody wants our shitty Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, you fuckheads. We're going to move on because that's a rant that I could go down.
So many injuries.
Oh, Jesus. It's grievous. Did you know that Resident Evil was originally a first-person shooter? And it wasn't until they based a lot of it on Alone in the Dark, which also has a shitty movie adaptation, that it became third person.
Is Stephen Dorff in that movie, if I'm not mistaken?
I want to say yes, but I might be thinking of Blade because it's also that same kind of era of blandness.
I feel like I wanted to see that movie when it came out, but not even good enough to end up renting it when I didn't see it in the theaters. Yeah. Like, I've still not seen that movie.
How long do you think it takes to make a game that's this prolific? If I said 1 year, do you think that's enough?
Are we talking about like on console specs?
Yeah, so for the original game, and I'll tell you this, I'll give you a hint. So for the first 6 months, so we know it's at least more than 6 months, Shinji Mikami basically worked alone. So how much longer do you think it takes to take one guy's 40-page script and turn it into a feature-length game with cutscenes that are shot with real actors, have the music, have the gameplay, and everything done?
I'm saying at least a year and a half.
It was actually 3 years total, which I found like really refreshing because we had talked about like the Silent Hill episode and stuff. Seeing these people like with these breakneck paces was just kind of blowing my mind. And this game clearly plays a little bit more aggressively than that. So I was pretty impressed by the turnaround times, even when you consider it, because it's a genre-changing game in 3 years that had never been done that way. It's pretty good.
See, honestly, yeah, I'd still call that good, because the thing that really threw me off, like why I was asking this specs, like, because I'm so used to seeing games developed in such and such amounts of times now when they have like Unreal Engine and stuff like that. But, but yeah, still impressive. I mean, the live action shots, like the atrocious voiceovers and acting. Oh, it's just, it's still gold.
We're going to put the bunny ears around acting, right?
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
So the game was also originally going to be a remake of another game called Sweet Home, which I don't know if you've ever heard of. Very different. And then they had changed it. And what's interesting about Sweet Home, it had 5 different endings, which was one of the first games to pioneer that kind of, instigating your replayability to get those different endings and do different character choices and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Now, was this on like NES, or was this on like old Apple computer style, like Maniac Mansion?
So the game itself came out in 1989, and it was released on a couple different things, but the biggest platform being the Famicom. So there you go. That was another Capcom title.
All right.
And I'll say this, the gameplay mechanics, because I did watch a little bit of it on YouTube, like there are some similarities, like the way that they have the drop down menu and stuff. And, I liked it. It's cute. It's not anything that I feel like I need to go and to pick up a copy and figure it out, right? Like there are some games from Nintendo where I like in doing horror movie research and stuff that I've been like super into. This was fine. Like Monster Party, I had to stop everything I was doing, make sure I could find a ROM of it and play it for 20 minutes and be like, oh, this is way harder than I wanted it to be, but I still am glad I did it.
It's fun going back to the 8-bit games and just the stuff we grew up on, and just when you see how hard something is or how broken controls are, you're like, I wasn't just a stupid kid. This sucks.
Yeah, right. Playtesting.
Sometimes you find some gold.
Oh, exactly.
Now you say Resident Evil, you said it was basically going to be a remake of a game called Sweet Home, and you said that was by Capcom as well?
I did, yeah.
So that almost makes this like the Evil Dead 2.
Oh, that's actually a pretty fun analysis. Did you see that there's actually a movie coming out? It's called Wild Eyes, if I'm not mistaken. And people have basically said that it's the Asian version of Evil Dead.
No, I'm going to have to check that out. There's been a lot of Evil Dead news coming out.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the whole Evil Dead Now?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the title of it, but I was joking with the Spook House boys because I just did a cameo on their show where it's basically, my theory is that it's going to be like they're doing a Kindle and they're reading the Necronomicon that way. And then you get the Deadites in the cloud. You know what I'm saying? Little technology there.
Yeah, keep that money rolling in with these young ones.
Yeah, right.
Like, honestly, I'm wondering, super heavy on the satire with it. Because, I mean, if that name could work like that, I feel. But otherwise, I'm not really a fan either.
Yeah, it's, it depends on the marketing, I think, how excited I'll be. But, like, I'm also the guy who's super excited about Bill and Ted 3, and I know it's not going to be that great, but I am just a fan. I like being a dumb fan.
Oh, I watched the trailer 5 times when it dropped, dude. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm just super stoked to see them together, And I mean, even though George Carlin in the movie, they actually got George Carlin's daughter to play the role of Rufus's daughter to kind of fill that void.
Yeah, I like that they're keeping it like in the family. I can always appreciate when you bring people back. Like Carrie Fisher's daughter was like a big part of the new Star Wars. People were like, oh, nepotism. I'm like, I don't have the fucking patience to care. If the quality's there, I don't care.
Seriously, it's including someone's family member, just passing on a legacy. It's like, stop giving it so much shit. Find something else to bitch about. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So in terms of the game series for Resident Evil, I think a lot of people get confused because Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is technically a spinoff, and Resident Evil Code Veronica is an actual continuation of the original storyline. And so it was due to contract rights with, Sony and having to release an actual numbered sequel. And then you have Resident Evil 4 ended up becoming Devil May Cry. And so there's a lot of convoluted nature when it comes to the history of Resident Evil. And then this movie franchise didn't help by just being completely batshit crazy and just like so tenuously related, it's not even funny.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, series of games, I went and counted today. I think there are 31, including mobile game releases.
Yeah.
And probably about, including the Japanese only releases, 37. And these movies have nothing to do with it, like a single one, or at least the first movie doesn't touch a single character. There's not a single character from the games in this movie, and it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the liquor and the dogs, that's about it, right?
Seriously, I mean, that was it. Those were the two in-game creatures, and I mean, one of the special forces unit have been in the games. No one. I don't think Nemesis was ever a thing in the games. It was an interesting choice.
Yeah. So in terms of the film franchise, you had this movie, Resident Evil, come out in 2002. Then you had Apocalypse in 2004, Extinction in 2007, Afterlife in 2010, Retribution in 2012, and the final chapter in 2016. And I cannot believe that with a movie this bland, they made a film franchise that has more installments than The Lord of the Rings at this point. Like, what?
I can't believe that I paid to see everyone in theaters.
Wow.
I mean, it's so bland, but I was there at every opening night, and I can't explain it.
It's like that True Blood shit, right? Where people like, I never knew anybody who was like, True Blood is really good. But I knew tons of people who were like, oh yeah, but like I've never missed an episode. I'm like, well then why, what?
That's the thing. You watch the show for the moments, not there's bits. A lot of it's so much filler. This movie is.
Yeah. Like that's the great thing about like a guilty pleasure or popcorn fluff is it's just you enjoy it and you move on. Like none of these movies have ever been like, I can feel it in my soul and my bones and the essence of my being. But if it is that to somebody, mazel tov. I could not give two shits less.
I feel they're just literally the horror version of the Fast and the Furious because each one just keeps going and getting bigger and bigger with the absurdities. Like, just none of it makes sense. How did you get this to happen? Why is this here? But hey, I'm going to watch it.
That's insane. And like, so the movies aren't terrible. I think that's one thing is, this is not the Transformers movie franchise. I think that the Fast and Furious is a good description because there are instances and moments and sequences of those movies that people inarguably kind of like. Mia Jovovich actually was nominated for the Best Actress, and the first Resident Evil was nominated for the Best Film in the 29th Saturn Awards. So, I mean, this was not just like, it's just Blood Rain or whatever. This was actually decent and well produced.
Exactly. It's like, there is nothing wrong with this movie, really, but it's just like there is nothing that is just wow about it. The set designs, I mean, the set production is great. Everything looks beautiful. I mean, just that's something you don't see a lot of these days is good set design because everything's still in CGI. But I mean, it felt, you knew they were there, which was just gives the movie that cred already. But there's nothing visually that I can really gripe about. I mean, CGI back then looked fantastic. They built like a couple like really big, awesome puppets to use for the liquor and the bigger beast that it turned into. And they chose to use more of the CGI, but the puppet in a couple scenes looks great. Like, this movie looks fantastic, but it's just lackluster.
Exactly. It does leave you wanting a little bit, but I think that it's very indicative of its time. Movies at this juncture were very much just like bland. Like the early 2000s was a lot of bland shit. This was your Ghost to Mars era, So I think when you take about the sum of its parts, like it's actually above average. Did you know that they did a novelization, but weirdly, the novelization didn't come out till more than 2 years later?
Are you serious? It's like, so was Apocalypse out by then?
The book itself came out June 29th, 2004, and Apocalypse,
I feel that was like a midsummer release.
September 10th. So maybe it was deliberately held back to kind of be a precursor to that movie.
Okay, maybe hype people up, a little bit of marketing with that to get people zazzed to see the sequel.
Yeah, because, that's what I always do. Whenever I am going to go see a sequel to a blockbuster movie, I always read the adaptation of the movie instead of watching it, and then I go see the sequel. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah, novelizations to movies, it's just like, where are they pulling these things from? Take, for example, I heard there was a novelization of The Dark Knight Rises that, included the Joker in it.
Yeah, he's an inmate in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, why even do that? I just don't get the point.
I understand, because it kind of goes back to the old days. Like, if you've ever read the novelization for Gremlins, they made them aliens, and there's all sorts of just really weird and bizarre stuff. But I guess it's kind of like trying to be, you're adding more substance and trying to make it like necessary reading, I think, is kind of the gimmick of it.
Filling plot holes that the movie may kind of leave, you're saying, kind of thing.
Exactly.
I get it. Still, it's weird.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with you on that one.
I'll stick to the movies.
Are you ready to get into some statistics for this week?
Let's do it up.
Awesome. So the movie was shot on a budget of $33 million and grossed $103 million. Now, it sounds super awesome, but when you find out that it opened in 2,528 theaters, grossing $17 million in its opening weekend, that's stacking the deck in their favor, because that's one of the benefits you get to doing an adaptation is you already have market research done. You already have metadata. When people are doing Google searches, people know what this is, an established brand, so you can be ambitious and, get that many theaters to do your release, versus movies like we see nowadays where The Lighthouse is oh, it was in 5 theaters and you had to go on a Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Oh, exactly. And I mean, Disney's doing that now. I was just watching something about the movie they just put on Disney Plus, Artemis Fowl or something like that. Apparently it was a book series.
Yeah, my wife just watched it. It was a thing.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And just nothing to do with the book. And they just basically used it for the name.
Yeah, it seems pretty tenuous, but I can dig it. Just steal that metadata, keep on moving, trick people into getting into the theaters. So it was released on March 21st, 2002. Now, this was an interesting month. 40 Days and 40 Nights was one of the films. All About the Benjamins, The Time Machine, Ice Age, Ollie G, In the House, Blade 2, Sorority Boys, Clock Stoppers. But here's the one movie. If you're going to watch one movie from March of 2002, it has to be Death to Smoochie.
Oh my God. Oh, I was working at Hollywood Video when that hit DVD. And yeah, we couldn't keep that one on shelf. It was weird. I mean, great film. But I always thought of it as more of a cult type comedy, not so mainstream, but I was surprised that kept flying off shelves.
It was a weird one because it had a huge budget, $50 million, and the box office was only 8.3. But then I've known just a bajillion people who've seen it, whether renting it or buying it on DVD. So I'm hoping they made their money back in droves when it came to it, because that movie has a legacy like you wouldn't believe.
It really does.
Yeah. So this film, Resident Evil, I guess we'll talk about it, whatever. 100 minutes. Yeah. What do you think about that runtime?
I don't want to say it's drawn out, but it's just, hey, we're going to go from point A to point B. Now it's time to go to point C, but there's something in our way. But then again, there's not really much you can trim out of it. It's not a bad runtime. It's totally doable. Whenever I see it's on, I'm going to pop it on and let it finish out. It plays quick enough. It's got bursts of action at just good increments. It keeps moving.
It's very indicative of Paul W.S. Anderson's kind of motif, where he very rigidly seems to have a story structure where he has, action, beat, pacing. And, like you said, it's almost like movie by numbers. And so the things I like enough to keep it the same runtime. Like you said, I didn't ever really feel like it was dragging too much because there was enough moments that were good, albeit spaced out sometimes, that I thought were worth that runtime. So even though it's not the 90 minutes we aim for, I was fine with it.
Exactly. Like it's the formula that and you just know you subconsciously love. It's like you can pop it on and turn your brain off and not have to think about anything and just enjoy it.
Which I'm all about. Did you know that in a Reddit AMA from April of 2014, James Cameron said that Resident Evil was his biggest guilty pleasure movie?
That is, that's freaking surprising. I would have thought it would have been something a lot more pretentious.
Yeah, for sure. Or some weird anime shit. But then I stopped and thought about it. I was like, oh, strong female protagonist. You got slimy monsters. Oh, this is very, aliens in a lot of ways. So I can appreciate that.
I get it. Because, yeah, dude, my favorite his character archetype is the final girl, man. I mean, you have a strong female lead in a movie just kicking ass. You have me. It's always how I've been. I've been raised on final girls.
There's nothing better. I honestly, I'm always rooting for men to die because the Y chromosome is evil and we all deserve what's coming to us. So Paul Anderson, he plays the Resident Evil game and he loves it. And so he blatantly admits that he wrote a script called Undead, which he described himself as a ripoff of the game. And then Bernd Eichinger of Constantine Film was super enthusiastic. So they got the rights and they just made a Resident Evil movie. So that's another thing where it's a deviation, but it's a deviation with a lot of the same like set pieces and a lot of the same beats because it's a ripoff that then got ripped back. So it's ripped off and then glued on. Can we call that?
Oh my God, just transplanted.
Exactly. So he wrote all 6 of the movies and directed 4 of them, which is kind of amazing. I can't think of any filmmaker who's stayed on to that many movies aside from Peter Jackson with The Lord of the Rings and then The Hobbit. And he wanted to fucking kill himself the whole time. So you know how that worked out.
Yeah, it's seriously impressive though. But which were the ones that he didn't direct?
Apocalypse was directed by Alexander Whitt. Extinction was directed by Russell Mulcahy. And then the rest all went back to him. So, he took a nice 8-year gap of directing these films.
That's such an interesting choice.
Maybe by then he got nostalgic for it, though, where he's like, all right, maybe he pulled the old Stephen King and he's like doing the Kubrick, I know how to direct my movies. And so then he went and did it.
Or he was probably just getting tired of people hanging out with his wife.
Yeah, that's a good one. They have 3 kids together, if I'm not mistaken. That's intense. How the hell she's able to get in like the kind of shape where she's dangling from wires and shit? Good for her, man.
Yeah, seriously. She's always been one of those people to make it like have a child and just snap right back. That just immediate transformation back to like an action star's body. It's good on her, man. My God.
Yeah, I should be doing sit-ups right now to get half that body. No, I'm just not about it. I understand.
Yeah, no, couch is nice.
So since we're on the topic of directors, here's an interesting one. Did you know that George A. Romero himself directed a commercial for Biohazard 2 that was only released in Japan?
I had heard that. Have you seen it? Is that on YouTube?
Yeah, it is. It's good. It's nothing where I was like, oh my God, this is the stuff of legend. But I was like, this is fun. This would influence me to at least Google search the damn game. Well, I'm sure in 2002 I was probably Alta Vistaing maybe. But you get my point. But apparently this prompted Sony to commission him to write a script. So then he hired his secretary to play the game and write down the key plot points. They wrote like 5 to 6 drafts, multiple drafts in their entirety you can find online. And then eventually he was like, fuck this, I'm gone. After doing all that work, it blows my mind.
Oh, man. See, I just imagine what could have been if he did, and that's what I've been thinking about a lot today is what other director would you want to see handle this franchise? Like your dream take on it. Who would you have direct a Resident Evil franchise?
So Resident Evil, you mean a derivation completely of the game, right? Just to be absolutely clear.
Exactly. To follow the games a lot more than these movies did. Like if they were to follow like Chris and Leon and Claire and Jill and just solidly follow the stories, what director do you think could really pull that off and it can like in a much more to the game kind of way?
Okay, I'm going to say one that's honestly, I don't even know why this struck my head because I didn't like Blade Runner 2049, but Denis Villeneuve, I would be really interested to see how he would do it because his visual style is so cool. And that's something that, you know, Resident Evil at the time was dope, but like now you look at it, you're like, oh, how quaint. But to see like the imagery and stuff really viscerally done, I'm into. I don't know. No idea why that came to my brain. What about yourself?
You know, I have been leaning towards Guillermo del Toro or, weirdly enough, Christopher Nolan. I want to see him do a horror, and I think he could take it and do something amazing.
I could see that. You know, I'm not a big fan of how he butt-fucked Batman with that third movie, but I could see it.
I'm one of the guys that appreciates Rises because I'm just I've always got a hard-on for Hardy. What can I say?
We did talk about this, and we both are very aware that he's uncircumcised. Not a deal breaker for either of us.
Oh, not at all. I will never say no to a cuddle.
Awesome. So, like you said, he wrote the movies as well. Now, what gets really interesting when it gets to the music for the film, Marco Beltrami paired up with Marilyn Manson to do the music. Now, Marco Beltrami is kind of the guy for the 2000s. The Faculty, Mimic, Scream, Blade 2, Hellboy, Underworld Evolution. He did some of that new Twilight Zone shit. He did Logan, Quiet Place, Max Payne. And so...
Holy shit.
It's very interesting. He's a pretty prolific guy for that era. And then to pair him with Marilyn Manson, I'm surprised I didn't know that immediately off the top of my head, but I actually had to find it during research.
Seriously, that is like a huge collaboration right there. And I mean, that's another thing. This movie is scored great.
Yeah, I ain't mad at it at all. I think that, you know, sure, it's dated with like the kind of stuff, but, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, like everything about the movie, like the set, the sound, the effects, I mean, for its time, everything's immaculate, but yet still so bland.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it's bland because it's of its time. You know, nothing about this movie in any capacity is timeless to me. But if they did that, it wouldn't be accurate to the motifs they were using. You know what I mean? That like pseudo sci-fi, everybody has frosted tips kind of shit.
Oh, totally. Everything was trying to be techie and cutting edge back then.
So is it time to get into nicknames?
Let's do it. Prick names.
There we go. Glad you remembered the little nonsensical juvenile game we play on this show. So we start off...
Hey, professional goon, man.
You know, amateur. So we have Mia Jovovich, who speaks like 5 languages and was born, wasn't she born in the USSR or something like that? Oh, she was born in the Ukraine. Yes. So
that was it.
Super interesting career and life. I think that she's a fascinating little individual.
She really is. She's picked a lot of quirky roles. Have you ever seen Dummy with Adrian Brody?
No, I like him though, so I could imagine that I might be partial to it.
Very, very fun, quirky indie comedy, and she's fun at it. She plays a best friend of his from like childhood in it, and she's just the girl that grew up with a foul mouth smoking cigarettes who's like 25 and still just wants to light off like firecrackers in the driveway. She's a blast in it. Definitely worth checking out.
So she's kind of like Natalie Portman in both Garden State and The Professional?
You know, I never saw Garden State, like, just because everyone at the time was raving about it, and I was like, I'm just turned off.
Saw it on a date, didn't get laid, so that movie sucks butts.
Can agree with that, man. That sucks.
So did you have...
But, The Professional. Yes, The Professional. Masterpiece.
It is a badass movie.
Natalie Portman in that, for her age... Just that role was fantastic. The movie is, I definitely say, like a perfect film.
In a lot of ways, yeah. I mean, it's in that genre, I could say it's a perfect film, yeah.
Very much so. Very much.
You have to be in the mood for it, because if you're not, and you're like, why the fuck is this man talking to a child? Then, you know, you just have to accept the weirdness and move on from there.
Exactly. But when you're in the mood, it scratches that itch.
Totally. So did you have a nickname for Miss Mila Jovovich?
See, now I have two. There's either the Fifth Resident or Lilu Alice.
I like the Fifth Resident. That's a pretty good one. That's a deep cut.
Thank you. There we go. I see what you did there.
Hey-yo. So we had Michelle Rodriguez as Rain Ocampo, who actually returned in Resident Evil Retribution in 2012, which I thought was pretty fascinating.
Which is funny because she kind of did the same thing again in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Exactly.
For her nickname, I just really cannot stand anything about her in this movie. She makes me grit my teeth. I've just been calling her Rain, Rain, go away.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually pretty damn good. So it's long, but I think it's completely appropriate because I was going to call her Vasquez because she just always reminds me every time of the chick from Aliens. The badass. She's the exact same person every time.
She's the direct-to-video store brand Vasquez.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because with a last name like Goldstein to be Vasquez, I'm like, is that brown face? Is this cool? I don't. So I like yours better than mine. Rain, Rain, go away. So then we had Eric Mabius. With a name that sounds that cool, I was actually kind of disappointed to find out it's his real last name. I was thinking it would be something, very generic, almost like his performance in The Crow Salvation. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he is the epitome of generic.
Now, was he the one that played Matt?
Yeah, the bland blonde is that one.
Oh, wait, bland blonde. Wait, so the guy that turns into Nemesis at the end, the one that was there looking for his sister.
Exactly, with the little scrappy, yeah.
Yeah. See, what I was dubbing him was he just looks like the love child of Benedict Cumberbatch and Chris Evans to me, so I've just been calling him Steve.
Wow.
Because they both, Steve Rogers,
Strange.
Steve Strange.
Yeah.
Strange. Yeah, he's just a Steve to me because he's just bland.
Dude, I'm not mad at that at all. I think that we can keep it for sure.
All right.
So I'm looking at the rest of these names, and honestly, there's not a lot of them live long enough, and there's not enough name recognition. Do you want to just go by character names or weird, vague descriptions?
I had one more.
Let's do it.
The squad leader. I think his name in the movie was One, but I was just calling him Chunk. No, Captain Chunk.
Captain Chunk. That's
because
pretty good.
Of that there laser grid.
Yeah, I could dig it. And he was also the guy who was in Punisher Warzone and Alien vs. Predator, a lot of this genre of movie. So I can dig that.
Awesome.
So are you ready to get into the slay-by-play?
Let's get to it.
So the opening is actually awesome, which is weird. The opening hooks me every time I see this kind of bland-ass movie where, they're all hustling and bustling. The guy walks into them and splashes it. After they there's clearly some corporate espionage with the stealing of the vials and the breaking of the vial. And then that elevator scene is so cute with the fake out decapitation when it's going down. And then she has that sigh of relief. And then it's nope, you're really decapitated. Goodbye. What do you think of it?
You're right. It hooks you. And I think it goes back to what you're saying about the pacing and how he has the story, action beat, story, action beat. I feel that was a good setting of the pace for the film. It hooked you in and you were ready to watch whatever was coming after that.
And it's great because you're not blowing your wad in the beginning. It's not like a movie where everybody's a zombie from the very beginning. You see a huge set piece and there's a bunch of action. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm just on a come down for the rest of it. This way, that shit's at the fan on this microcosm. You've seen a dramatic action and then you can move on and then you can still have room to escalate. It's the thing when it comes to shows like Dragon Ball Z, for instance, where it's you just have to arbitrarily start saying people's power levels are a bajillion because you escalate so rapidly without actual consequence. It's oh, well, I have a power level of 1 million. Oh, I have one of 2 million. Oh, okay. There's no gravitas. Whereas this, am I making sense? I'm not just talking shit on anime. I think I have an idea.
No, anime stuff is very much just kids on a playground. Infinity plus 1, infinity times 1,000. That's where that is. But yeah, like you were saying with this though, it was simple yet effective. You didn't even actually see an on-screen death, but it just suggested, all this stuff was happening, and it worked.
So then you get the close-up shot of Alice's eye as she's waking up naked in the shower, and that's supposed to mimic the title screen of the game, which I thought was pretty badass.
Oh yeah, I mean Resident Evil just had such a fixation on eyes. I mean, you look at all the creatures in the games, you're always shooting at a big glowing eyeball.
I wonder if there's some kind of Freudian psychology there. I wonder if that means he was kissed too much by his mom or something.
Uh-oh.
Awkward turtle. But here's something that shocked me in this scene. Completely took my breath away. I completely forgot that there's a nipple. And usually a movie that I've seen once from 18 years ago, if there's a nipple, I remember it. So I felt very bad about myself and my performance as a misogynist male.
Now, when was the last time that you saw it?
If I'm honest, probably like closer to 11 years ago. So it's still been a while.
Yeah, high definition makes all the difference.
Oh, that is a really good point.
There is more than a nipple in this movie. There is straight up bush in the end.
Yeah, that's right.
Because definition has leapt up so much since then. Like, as I was telling you, I hadn't seen this in a while either, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, she does have that basic instinct upskirt thing going, right?
Yep, just wearing that the paper.
I love how cheap those fucks are. They can't even get like a full paper gown. They're like, "Here, just have this rectangle. Fuck off, go away."
Yeah, we got this out of from wardrobe, not the copier. We promised.
The wardrobe lady was gone, so we sent this kid to Hobby Lobby. So from there, she's basically doing like the whole amnesia thing, but I think it's good because it's not like her doing a monologue, or rather a soliloquy to herself being like, I don't remember things. She's just doing things to indicate that she doesn't remember. Like she sees something handwritten, so she writes the same thing under it to see if her handwriting matches, which was so relieving because I feel like so many movies just treat you like you are so stupid nowadays, where I was like, oh, this is just nice.
Oh, exactly. What I hate more than anything is just over exposition. Fun fact about that note, little blooper, when they show it in the beginning and then they show Spencer writing it at the end, it's like two different notes with different handwriting, apparently.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What a gaffe. I hope somebody pointed that out on the goof section of IMDb.
I hope someone got fired.
Yeah, 20 years after the fact. So then she goes wandering around the mansion, which is obviously a reference to the Spencer mansion in the original game, hence his name even being Spencer. We move on. And SWAT team busts in, and they have masks. This is the wrong thing in the movie. This is what bothers me so much. You had gas masks. You are going into chemical warfare. You take off the gas mask and you go the rest of the movie without the gas mask. Like, God damn it. I know you need screen time for your face, actor boy, but that's wrong. That is criminal.
Exactly. It's like when they take off their helmets in Prometheus. It's like you asked for your death.
Yeah, right.
I'm just leaving it at that.
God damn. It always makes me think of Galaxy Quest. Don't open that. Is there air? You don't know.
Oh, so good. So good. Oh, Sam Rockwell in that movie. Such a charmer.
Have you seen the documentary for it, Never Surrender?
I started it the other night late. I didn't finish it. That was on Netflix, right?
Amazon Prime for me.
That was it. That was it. Yeah, I got to pick that back up. My dad told me about it, and I popped it on, got through about half of it, but I had to go to sleep. But yeah, I'm going to finish that.
It's delightful. It was a very good refresher, and it's super cool. Like, because my wife has never been the film nerd that I am, so she does have movies that she likes, but she's never like into the craft of filmmaking. So when she saw and realized like how good and how detailed and how like meticulous the movie was, I think she appreciated it on a whole new level, which was awesome.
Yeah, it's just that movie is made with so much love for so many different things. I mean, just like Star Trek, just nerds in general. The movie's a love letter. I've always loved it, and it's always had a big place in my heart.
100%. I need to stop saying 100%. A million %. I'm gonna go the Dragon Ball Z route.
There we go.
It's over 9,000%.
Next time on Flashers Podcast, right. Jake goes to 2,000,000%.
I really wish I had that guy's voice, if I'm honest. So, of the SWAT guys, there's the one character. I want to make sure I'm getting his name right. God damn it all to hell. I don't have his name. He's just the one guy who ends up getting like bitten and then not there. I'm trying to remember what it is. Is it JD? The guy who looks exactly like Al Bundy's neighbor from across the street.
Dude, there's two guys. One of them, I believe,
Kaplan.
loses his
Thank
fingers. Wait, no, Kaplan I thought was the guy that makes it towards the end.
Yes.
Kaplan's the guy, yeah.
He looks to me just like Al Bundy's neighbor from across the street, but like a little bit younger.
Wait, that's not Kaplan, no, I thought. I thought Kaplan was the guy that was turning off the security system when they all went into the laser grid thing.
The guy who gets bit in the leg, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, I forgot. He got bit then, yeah.
Yeah, the other guy, Pasquale Aliardi, I could see how he looks like it, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, I'm seeing the resemblance you're seeing right now. I'm getting it, yeah.
Because it's also his shitty little haircut in the movie, too. It's not just his face, so I probably should have emphasized that.
If you went made him blonde, oh wait, which?
Yeah, the guy who's married to the little shrew lady who's really cranky all the time.
Wait, yeah, the one that was in Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were talking about her earlier husband before he came onto the show.
Oh, no. That guy's negligible. We're fine.
Yeah.
So as they're descending into the whole like railway thing, did you know that was actually the Bundestag U-Bahn station in Berlin?
Really?
Oh, I learned that, and I didn't even know how to pronounce it, and I still don't. The more you know. And the train itself was called the Galaxy 5000 in the game, was renamed to the Alexei 5000 as a reference to Code Veronica's villain, Alexia Ashford. How dope is that shiz?
Yeah, I think, like I was going to say, I think that and Spencer being, his name being a reference to the mansion, I think those are really the only Easter eggs in this film.
Yeah, at least subtle. I mean, because you get beaten over the head with like, this is a liquor. It licks because it's got a tongue. Other than that, yeah.
Exactly, but like you didn't see any like herbs pop up on someone's desk. Like they're in that office, you just see a potted plant that looked like one of those. I would have shat my pants. That would have been great. But like, because that is my thing. I'm an Easter egg hunter, and it's like I wanted to find more stuff in this film, but you know.
I looked and I hunted, and I mean, everybody knows I do my due diligence. I hope our reputation on Slasher speaks for itself. But I was like, wait, what? There's nothing. I expected there to be some like saucy video from some guy who's like, "What's up, guys? It's your pal GP Max 27 here on YouTube. I'm gonna go through 107 things that dim in the bit." But no, there's nothing.
Yeah, when they're grasping at straws and just trying to tie threads together. Yeah, one of those videos. But yeah, I was searching for one of those videos.
You may notice that Alice is a carbon-based life form, which is a nod to the original characters in the game who are also carbon-based life forms.
Like to a T.
Exactly. You might notice that she has hair, which you may notice the original character also had hair.
This movie was named Resident Evil after a popular game series franchise. Like, yeah.
No shit, what?
But like, not a single video like that exists. Like, seriously, I searched online just like for Reddit and shit. Like, I found two.
Well, I'm glad that we struck out together. So
yeah, team effort.
Let me ask you this. Memory loss is so common in movies. Did you ever feign memory loss to try and get out of trouble as a kid?
I think once or twice.
Dude, every time I would get in a fight at school, my dad would always ask me for like a very meticulous chronology. I'm like, I don't remember. And like, it makes me think that if I was, cracked down by the police, I wouldn't be a narc, because I wouldn't even narc on myself as a kid. No, I don't remember. I don't remember nothing. It was dark. I didn't see nothing. Because I would stonewall him. And like looking back, I could see he couldn't have given two shits less about me fighting. It was just the fact that I was like fucking with him and I wouldn't just tell him. I sit back and laugh on some of them still. And that's been over 20 years.
It's the thrill of the game, man. The thrill of it all.
Hell yeah. And I got away scot-free. Nobody ever busted me.
I think I used that defense when I gave my little sister a haircut when I was like 5.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it didn't work too well.
One fun thing I found about the movie is there's a fascinating part where I noticed where the device that they use to break the code to get into the system is just a blood glucose meter that has a radio antenna glued to it. And I was like, oh, I've literally seen that before. That's awesome.
I love stuff like that. Little repurposed items for props and just, It's funny shit once you notice it.
Yeah, my all-time favorite one is Qui-Gon Jinn using this stupid like radio thing that's just a woman's like Gillette razor without the blade that's painted gray.
It's amazing. I remember reading that for the first time. Like, that's all of it. Like, in all of Star Wars, all that shit is like lightsabers came from camera parts.
Yeah, exactly. The 3 flash cell for I think it's a grandma. Have it in notes. There we go. From the 1940s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's just I've always loved seeing what people do with just everyday items. I've always been into prop building and shit like that, and just to see funny little repurposed items like that just makes my day. Like finding that shit out.
And so, as we move forward, did you notice? Because I only noticed it for the first time, which kind of harkens back to your point about HD. That the red dot that's in the camera showing like, oh, you're being watched. Did you notice the red dot's actually a little red crown as a reference to the Red Queen?
Oh my God, I did not notice that.
I'm very proud of myself. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, good on you for seeing that. And that's the whole reference to the Red Queen crown and everything. It's like, was he just like, what was this Alice in Wonderland metaphor he was trying to achieve? Like, I get it. Her name's Alice. They're going down the rabbit hole on the tram and everything to get to the Red Queen. It's like, after that, I feel like the metaphor just loses itself.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward. But as an MMA fan, I just kept imagining whenever I'd see this shitty little girl CGI, I just imagine Rory McDonald as the Red King there. And I was like, hey, this is better now. So when they go to the labs and there's the trickle of water coming out from where the scientist had tried to like pickaxe their way out of the fiberglass, for some reason, I just laughed out loud while I was watching it. My wife like looked over confused because I kept thinking of like Sylvester the cat or like the Looney Tunes when they'd get shot and they'd drink some water and they just start spouting water out of their stomachs.
Yeah, it's like a sieve.
It was so weird. I don't know. I had like this vivid, just I couldn't get it out. And then like, of course, the fact that like she's judging me hard is making me giggle even more like an idiot.
Oh, that stern wife look in her eyes.
Oh, yeah. So we have to talk about the best zombie in the movie is Half-Face Zombie. I don't know if it actually has a better name, but with the one where they clearly had like CGI'd out half of his head. C'est magnifique.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's like one of the main things that I just remember from this movie. It's like that half-face zombie and then just the laser grid. Those are like, I have to say, some of the top effects in it.
The 3 things I remembered were this guy, the grid, and the dogs. And I remember the dogs because I thought like, oh, how like interesting. They did like a good practical effect with the kind of like latex over the dog, and the dog seemed healthy and fine, which is kind of nice. And I mean,
exactly.
It's a horror movie where the dog dies, but he was already dead, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a brilliant use of just CGI assistance to practical effects.
Exactly.
Which I love. It's like, I'm just such a practical guy. I want to see everything done practical, and CGI should just be that little assist, you know, to blend the edges.
Yeah, I'm big on like when they CGI out the guy and you get the like puppetry and whatnot, like whether it's the Muppets or the new Dark Crystal that came out. I'm really into that. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, just that it's that touch more realism to it.
Yeah, and then when that one dude gets eaten, I kind of think it's a Day of the Dead reference, but it also might not be because it's just a guy who's in military-ish uniform getting eaten while he's like kind of pseudo crowd surfing. So maybe.
Was that JD or was that one of the other unnamed soldiers?
I don't know. They are all so bland. They are a hive person to me.
Seriously, it's like every one of them, they all blend together. It's like one of the guys that dies through a laser grid. It's like, dude, when did you even get here? Have you been here the whole time?
Yeah, right.
I thought you were background.
He's like, no, I was 20 minutes late. I just showed up, though.
Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, have you ever seen the Twilight Zone episode, The Number 12 Looks Like You?
What was the premise of that? There was a local band, or there was a grindcore band. I can't remember if they were local, or I'm just remembering them being local with that same name.
Yeah, so I mean, it's basically that they like pick out an identity or like a physiology that they're like, oh, like I picked this, and there's like it's more like an outfit, but that's like your body and your visage, and that's the way a lot of these actors at this kind of era look like. It's like, oh, you just chose the generic white guy. You chose the white girl with the pixie cut. You know what I mean? It's like there were those templates that you saw over and over again.
Yeah, your pre-made game characters kind of thing.
Exactly, your creative character templates.
Yep. Truly, because I mean, there is no differentiation. There's no character development. It's just like, hey, they're here to fill this role.
Yeah. And so when the liquor escapes, did it remind you of like a really shitty Sonic the Hedgehog villain?
It really did.
It had those like the weird kind of hands, and I was like, this just looks like it's on a Dreamcast.
Exactly. Just like you could just some sort of like lava level boss or something like that.
Right. It just change some of the bones to like little servos, and it's a Robotnik beast, no questions.
Exactly.
So I have to talk about the dogs. I thought the dog scene is cute where she escapes the one dog and it's like, you walked into the wrong neighborhood, motherfucker. And then she kills all the dogs, and then the original dog comes back and she does this jumping like spin kick that looks just like River from Firefly. It's hokey. It's bad, but it's my kind of hokey and bad, and I love it.
Exactly. And it's like, I love how they cut away from her shooting all the dogs, because it's like, there is no way she could have taken out that room of dogs with that one clip. So they cut away, but then you see, you still believe it. You're not taken out of it.
Yeah, and especially I never need to see violence against animals as the prissy little vegan boy. I'm always like, oh, we're fine.
But it's just like interesting the way they cut it, because it's like you don't see her changing the angle of the gun from like her shoulder stance, but it's like all of a sudden the room's cleared.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So then the dude finds his sister Lisa, and he's sad as she's a zombie. That's fine. She has a flashback to selling Lisa the information, and then she doesn't tell the guy at first, and then she later tells him. Did you catch the very, very blatant, get over here? And then like the same guy adds, come on, there's too many of them. But I was like, this is clearly a Scorpion reference, to which Paul W.S. Anderson had just done that video game adaptation, right?
Yeah, he did that. And I mean, what else has he done? Oh, he did Event Horizon as well. But yeah, completely just did, what was that, 98 that he did Mortal Kombat?
Oh, no, we actually just did an episode on it. I believe it was 1994.
Oh, wow. It was that far back?
Let me double check.
Then,
it's 1995. Filming began in August of 1994. Sorry, I was going off the top of my head and I talked about that in the notes.
Okay.
So it was 1995.
Okay, but yeah, total reference.
Hell yeah. I caught something that I didn't see in a video by a preteen with Adobe Premiere.
Attaboy.
Hey, yo. So then Spencer is revealed as a traitor, and he escapes, and he's injecting the antivirus and gets killed by the liquor. And then the liquor starts to adapt, which is kind of cool. Kaplan saves them by frying the queen, and then Alice won't kill the zombified Michelle Rodriguez, which is kind of annoying. After she's already injected her with the cure-all that doesn't cure all. So that's kind of, like I said, frustrating. What'd you think of that scene? Because, I mean, I've seen it so many times where it's like, I'm reluctant to kill somebody who's a monster and wants to eat my face.
Yeah, it just, like I said, it was take her out. Rain, go away.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they kill the zombie who falls onto the button, making the liquor fall out of the back of the truck, I was kind of into it, I have to admit. It was a cute little, like, Rube Goldberg machine right there.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, she served her purpose there.
And then they get to the mansion, and he's like, oh, the scratchies on my arm are making me have the bad tummy-tum feels. And then a second SWAT team shows up, and they're like, hey, this is the scene from E.T. where we're all in white. We're going to take him for the Nemesis Project. And then it goes to her eye again, and she wakes up in the hospital.
Yeah, I think the Nemesis tease is what really brought me back for that opening night. I think that was, I guess that maybe not even an Easter egg, but just a reference in the movie. I liked that part. That had me excited. But yeah, I mean,
it made me feel like Captain America. I was like, oh, I understood that reference.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, the ending, it lands again.
Yeah, and then
by the numbers.
It ends up where she pulls the fucking tubes out of her head, and she goes downstairs. And I don't know, she walked through an entire hospital that was abandoned, but only found a lab coat to put on, which I was like, that seems like somebody's trying to exploit my nether regions to look at his wife, which is just weird. And she just takes a shotgun, and she's just in a desolate place. And I was like, that's cute. It makes me wish that there wasn't a sequel, because my imagination would have been better than the sequels.
Oh, hands down, hands down. One other thing, when they show the newspaper when she gets out into Raccoon City, it says the Dead Walk, reference to Day of the Dead, I believe.
Hell yeah. So that's two potential references because we have the guy getting eaten and stuff, which kind of could be maybe. So I think that's good. We did it, buddy.
Maybe
we cracked the code.
You know, we found that touch of Romero in there.
Yeah, we did find it. We cherished it. We polished up this turd and we put a little sprinkling of George A on top of it.
Oh, yeah, a little cherry.
So, and I guess that's the end of the movie. Now, in your opinion, is this a classic, a trashic, or a tragic?
You know, like I've said, I can't ever turn the movie off when it's on. So, but like I said, I can't find anything remarkable about the film. So I'm definitely going tragic.
Yeah, I gotta say the same. Like there's not enough wrong with it to be a tragic. I mean, sure, its biggest misgiving is that it's somewhat bland, but it's very capable and competent. So it's just like, yeah, this is just a good bad movie and it's harmless.
Like I almost feel if the movie was worse, it'd be better. You know, in like ironic kind of way, you know, like, I don't know. That's just how I feel. It's vanilla by the numbers from start to finish. Like, I wonder if they just made it a little bit cheesier, a little bit campier, what it would have been.
Yeah. Compare this movie to the Mario Brothers movie, right? The Mario Brothers movie is a dumpster fire, but it is so much more interesting for being a dumpster fire.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, Easter eggs all over that film.
Dude, it gets to the point of absurdity, which I love.
Oh, so much. It's like that. I wanted to see a Resident Evil movie more like that, honestly. But like I said, I'll still never turn it off the way it is. I love it for the bland, just white bread sandwich that it is.
All right. I realized something. My friend.
What's up?
So, you know, the reason I said Dennis Villeneuve guy was because Blade Runner 2049 reminds me aesthetically of some of the Carpenter Brute music videos.
Oh, yeah, Turbo Killer and Blood Machines.
And so just take that fucking guy and make him do this movie, and then I'm into it.
Oh, my God, I would be all over that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, dude, just the visuals and just, I would definitely watch some just zombie hordes with some dark waves. That'd be amazing.
I feel like some spermy cobwebs coming out of my dick just thinking about it. I broke Adam. He just retched in his own mouth. All right, bud. Well, is it time to say goodbye to these goons?
Yeah, I just want to first say thank you again for having me, and thank you, goons.
And so, to be determined, our friend Adam here is going to be having his own horror podcast, much like everybody and their own grandmother. So, before we go, Adam, why don't you do a shameless plug for a thing that doesn't quite exist yet? But the great thing about podcasts is that in 6 months, when you're making more money than me at this podcasting game, somebody can look back at this episode and hear about it.
I'll never forget you, baby. But buddy of mine, friend of the show, Johnny, and I are going to be starting another movie podcast called Cuts Matinee. And basically, it's going to be anything weird, strange, horror-related, or quirky in cinema. Some dark comedies, some crazy horrors, basically whatever we just find weird and is worthy of talking about.
When there's something strange in your neighborhood, who are you going to call Deep Cuts?
Deep Cut Matinee.
Okay, syllabically, I think you fucked it. I think we have to go back to the very beginning and start all over. This 1 hour plus podcast is ruined. Just kidding.
Damn it.
You're a natural. I'm glad that I could help break your horror hymen all over the Mutant Goons from Beyond as you prepare to launch off into your own moment and glory, where I'm going to be looking back at this and be like, they just grow up so fast.
Oh, you've guided me with your tender, gentle hands, and you've made it easy, man. So I'm looking forward to getting some episodes out and definitely having you on.
Hell yeah. I'll be happy to host, or I will be happy to guest host. I don't want to steal your show. I'm not that guy. Thank you, though. So anyway.
That's what I do.
Yeah. For Adam, I'm Jake, reminding you to go out there and do something you love. And remember that all work and no power play makes Jack a dull boy. Adam, can you do a fart sound for me, bud?